My mother is a veterinarian technician at a local hospital. Occasionally, there would be animals in need of special care that my mother would bring home, giving me access to education on rehabilitating animals. Some animals were exotic, others domesticated pets. Learning about rehabilitation in such a manner was beneficial because my mother had the opportunity to bring home various types of animals that I had the chance to study and practice. For example, my mother had the luxury of taking care of 2 owlets. Since animals are a major part of my life, they hold a special place in my heart, as they do in many people's lives. As children, we have all had pets that are dear to our hearts, and nothing would stop them from making sure they live the best life they can, with the best care possible. Pets are remarkably close to us. Have you ever had a pet that needed medical care and you gave your all to help them heal? I have, and the animals I met and took care of made a huge impact on my life, emotionally, educationally, and personally. The 4 animals that I have rehabilitated were healed back to their full extent, with the 2 squirrels being released back into the wild, and the 2 kittens are back to their full health and safely living with me. The 2 squirrels were taken to the vet to be sure they were in full health before being released into a heavily researched, safe environment that would provide them with everything they would need. The kittens were also taken to the vet for checkups, and my mother would supervise regularly to make sure that they were being properly taken care of and growing steadily. I have successfully rehabilitated and rescued 4 animals, 2 squirrels and 2 kittens. I succeeded in my rehabilitation of animals by rescuing a kitten with a broken tail and breathing issues, curing a kitten with upper respiratory issues and severe corneal ulcers, an eye disease, and raising 2 baby squirrels until they were full grown, including bottle feeding, and ready to be released into the wild. There have been many opportunities for me to help animals. A batch of animals were left to me to help, and the first were 2 tiny kittens who were close to death, in need of health assistance and a loving home. The cat I rescued had a broken tail. Her name is Rain, and she was brought to me suffering from upper respiratory issues. This illness is caused by herpes, which is quite common in cats. This issue resulted in her getting exercise-induced asthma as she struggled to breathe anytime she was physical and inflamed eyes. She struggled breathing and could not be physical for long before she began to pant. I needed to give her a supplement and eye drops to help aid her health back. She was perfect and took her medication very well every single time. The eye drops soothed her burning eyes, and the supplement helped fight off her upper respiratory issues, which eventually subsided and no longer had any effects. Rain also had a broken tail. It was broken near the base of her tail. She was injured before she came to my mother's vet. We supposed that Rain's tail was crushed by something that cut the nerves in most of her tail. She could not feel any pinches or feeling at all, and would not react when her tail was grabbed and tested. It was best to remove the numb portion of her tail because it could be a hazard later in life. For example, it could be caught in something, resulting in damage and an infection. The healing time for the nub of tail left was quick and easy. She wore a cone for part of it, and her biggest struggle was trying to eat her food. She eventually got the cone off once her stitches were removed, as she could not pick at them anymore and worsen her issues. After caring for Rain, I moved on to care for her brother, Sunny. Sunny's eyes were fusing shut due to his upper respiratory issues, causing him to lose sight due to the buildup of gunk in his eyes. I had to administer eye drops every day for him to prevent his eyes from fusing shut completely. He also had severe corneal ulcers in both eyes that the eye drops also helped satiate. Due to the quick response in eye drops, Sunny's eyes were saved, except for a little pinching in the eyes at the corners. This does not have any effect on his vision currently. Taking care of both Sunny and Rain was easier than expected, as they never struggled and immediately gravitated towards me. They lived on the screen porch because they could not be around other cats due to the diseases they could possibly have. They ate mixed formula and regular wet food to guide their process, then moved on to hard food, living outside on the patio where they had a litter box and a ton of hiding places and beds to enjoy their life outside on the screen porch. They grew up afraid of storms and attached themselves to me very tightly, which made it impossible for me to give them up. Once my kittens were taken care of, 2 little baby squirrels were found with no mother. I took on the responsibility of nursing them back to health. These squirrels came to me through my mother's vet, and they desperately needed round-the-clock care to regain their health. I took on the responsibility, which included syringe feeding every few hours to keep their strength up. Both did so well and treated me as their mother, so the feeding times were simple, yet a little messy. Both squirrels would be wrapped in a towel and then suckle on the syringe until they were full, which did not take long. They grew quickly and were soon hopping around the porch, climbing into places where they should not be, and scampering from place to place, leaving a mess everywhere. They had no health issues, so no medication was necessary. Once the squirrels were large enough, we started researching various parks to release them at. We looked at the park's reputation, the surrounding environment, various possible threats, and even went as far as to go to the parks to check them over. When we finally chose a safe, well-preserved park, we took them to it and opened the door to their crate. At first, they were hesitant and were unsure what to do. They delayed leaving their carrier crate until they were nudged out and introduced to their first tree. Then their natural instincts kicked in, and the 2 babies left. They ran up a tree, and we trust that they are still living healthily in this park to this day, raising other baby squirrels. After releasing my squirrels, my job was done. I am now left with Rain and Sunny, who lighten my life every day since they were brought to my care. The 2 helpless baby squirrels that needed special care to bring them up are now released into a safe park in Florida, where they have had the strength to survive on their own. The 2 kittens are still living with me and have no lasting results due to their illness, save for a lack of a tail. I made it my job during these summers to dedicate myself to these animals that needed help. Now I am left with the happiness that 2 squirrels grew up healthy and 2 unique cats that have been the most wonderful addition to my life. I have successfully rehabilitated and rescued 4 animals, 2 squirrels and 2 kittens, and the one thing I want someone to take away from my successes is that one should always take the opportunity to help animals in need. Their lives are just as important as ours, and it is our responsibility to care for them when they have no one else to rely on.